Well, as mentioned a bit there, U.S. President Donald Trump has said he's taken hydroxychloroquine to ward off coronavirus, despite public health officials warning it may be unsafe. The 73-year-old president was hosting a meeting devoted to the struggling restaurant industry on Monday when he caught reporters unaware by revealing he was taking the drug. Currently, there is no convincing evidence that hydroxychloroquine helps fight the virus, and it can cause unpleasant and harmful side effects in some people. Experts agree that this work is worth doing, but they are concerned about advocating more general use of these experimental treatments before the proof is in, and also using it could endanger lives and deprive patients from chronic autoimmune conditions of their much-needed medication. The UK government has been stockpiling some medicines that might be useful against coronavirus. That includes the drugs. Clinical trials are underway in the UK and the United States to assess the drug's worth. The human guinea pigs taking part include frontline health workers at high risk of exposure to the virus, as well as patients. The VOA senior White House correspondent, Patsy joins us now to take a look at this a bit more. Patsy, what do Americans make of President Donald Trump's announcement about taking chloroquine every day to, as a preventive measure against the coronavirus?
Well, it really depends on which Americans you're asking. Those who do not support President Trump say that this is really just an irresponsible and reckless announcement by the president, particularly in promoting a drug that has not been proven scientifically to be effective nor safe against COVID-19. Those are the people who are against President Trump, but those who support him say that this is great. We believe the president, and in fact, some are even calling for the president, asking the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, to make this medicine available for a wider population, perhaps over the counter. So it really just depends on which American you're talking about, as in anything that relates to President Trump.
For now, the use of this drug had been disapproved by the FDA, but some who had, like before, gone with the president on taking chloroquine after he touted it as a preventive drug may think President Trump has been talking about this for a while now. Why can't? Is this worrying for health officials?
Right. So in April, the Food and Drug Administration, this is the top government's agency that essentially tells American whether or not a certain drug or a certain food is safe to consume. In April, they said that hydroxychloroquine, while it is widely used and have been used for a long time for malaria and lupus, is not proven effective or safe against COVID-19, whether as a cure, as a treatment, or as a prevention, because there's just simply not enough data to support this notion. And so they are saying, the FDA is saying that hydroxychloroquine should only be used in a hospital or clinical trial setting. It should not be used by the wider population. It should only be used upon a doctor's recommendation. And as we heard before in the Trump statement, is that he asked his doctor whether or not he can take this, and the doctor said that he can take it. And when asked why is he taking it, the president seems to be referring to some anecdotal evidence that a lot of people are telling him, frontline workers, healthcare workers are telling him that this is effective. But again, I must stress that this is anecdotal evidence. Most of the health experts that I speak to say that there's simply not enough evidence that suggests hydroxychloroquine is safe or effective against COVID-19.
Well, let's take a look at what's going on with the President Trump and the WHO now. The president has given the WHO a 30-day ultimatum, else the U.S. will cut funding from the body. What could happen if the U.S. president goes ahead with this decision? And what can the WHO do then? And can the president actually do this at this point?
Right. So the president is threatening to pull all funding permanently for the WHO after last month threatening that he's going to suspend it. So the president gives the WHO 30 days to make sufficient and major improvements. I've asked the White House, what do they mean by major improvements? What are the criteria? And who, in fact, from the U.S. government, which agency will be looking at or will be reviewing this to ensure that the WHO has met those criteria. So far, the White House has not responded to my questions. And whether or not Trump can actually do this, of course, depends on the other branch of government in the United States, that is the Congress. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said that she does not want this to happen. This is not a good idea. And there may be some challenges coming from there. So it's still very unclear what exactly can President Trump do beyond making threats, beyond giving pressures to WHO to look into its own procedures and see whether or not they can be made more accountable and more transparent.
All right, then, VOA Senior White House Correspondent Patsy Widakuswara, thank you so much for joining us on The World Today.